Hello guys and welcome back. If you are new here, I do mostly Australian true crime videos, and today we are doing an unsolved case that has been unsolved for 30 years. However, the case is kind of more active than it ever has been. But having said that, I just want to put a quick reminder in, not just for my audience, but for myself, to be kind and respectful in my words and in your words. I am making this video to spread awareness of the case and to continue to remember the victim's story. Having said all that, let's get into the unsolved case of Annette Mason. In November of 1989, 15-year-old Annette Jane Mason had her whole life ahead of her. She was intelligent and studious, kind, and had a quiet but caring nature about her. She loved her family, teddy bears, and gardening. Her mother was Judith, her father was Andrew, and she had a big sister called Linda. She also had a brother. Annette had recently moved into a share house when her mother moved away from Toowoomba, where Annette lived, to the Gold Coast for a new job position. In fact, Annette had only been living in this share house for 1 week when the following events happened. Annette's mother had actually been worried sick about leaving Annette behind in Toowoomba while she moved to the Gold Coast, but she could see Annette wanted to stay in Toowoomba. She had friends there, she had her roots there. That's where she wanted to be. So her mother helped her move into her new share house and moved away for her new job. Annette had also recently left school and was working at the checkouts of a local supermarket. On November the 18th, 1989, which was a Saturday, Annette was attending an engagement party at the Laurel Bank Park Hotel in the evening before heading to a football party at Toowoomba Park. Annette then headed to a local pub for a few drinks. I think it was the Norville Hotel, but I couldn't confirm which pub it was, but it was a local pub to Annette. And the last person she was seen standing with or talking to or interacting with that evening was a man named Alan McQueen, and they were seen standing outside the front of the pub having a chat by witnesses. Annette was officially last seen on November the 19th at 3:30 in the morning when her taxi driver dropped her off at home at 131 Anzac Avenue. However, a witness claims they saw Annette at about 4:15 a.m. that morning running along the street outside of her house, looking very scared and frightened, running from an older man. Later that day at around 2:10 p.m, Annette's housemate made a horrifying discovery. She found Annette laying in her bed, concealed by a doona, bludgeoned to death. Her body was badly beaten, particularly across her face, and she was lying face down, partly naked. But there was never any evidence of indecent assault found on her body. It's believed Annette was killed between 5 and 7 a.m. that morning. And it is believed that Annette knew her attacker, as there was no signs of any forced entry anywhere in the home. And unfortunately, it was Annette's sister Linda that had to ring their mother Judith and break the news to her about Annette's passing. And at first, Judith didn't even believe what she was being told. Alan McQueen, the man that Annette Mason was last seen talking to that night outside of the pub, was questioned by police, but he claims that he got so drunk that night that he doesn't even remember getting home. McQueen, although a suspect at the time, was never arrested. However, he did go on to become one of Queensland's most notorious criminals, being arrested for an armed robbery not long after Annette's death. More than 600 witnesses were interviewed at the time, and it was eventually found that Annette died of extensive head injuries, which they believed were caused by a piece of timber that was found in the laundry of her home. The doctor who examined Annette's body described her injuries as unusually severe. Annette's funeral was held not long after, and her sister Linda says she barely remembers anything except for a blur of crying schoolgirls and the big tall cathedral ceilings. You know, it's not a video unless my cat joins at some point. Despite the massive manhunt in Annette's case and the fact that the police believed this would be a quick and easy case to solve, nobody was ever arrested and nobody has ever been charged. In 1990, a reenactment of Annette's death was aired on Australia's Most Wanted, and this actually resulted in 150 new statements regarding her case. However, if anything ever came of this, I was unable to find it. Another devastating blow came for the Mason family when in early 1990, Annette's brother passed away in a car accident. Throughout the years since Annette's death, evidence has been re-examined as technology has evolved and small developments have been made. But none of this has been significant enough to arrest anybody. Annette's sister Linda and her parents Judith and Andrew are fighting to this day to find Annette's killer, who has been roaming the streets now free for 30 years. And this point leads me to the inquest. A coronial inquest into Annette's death was ordered in late 2016 by Queensland Attorney General Yvette D'Arth. The Attorney General had actually initially rejected a request for the inquest without even meeting with the Mason family, telling them in a letter that the inquest was not in the public interest. The 2016 coronial inquest was actually a reopening of the original 1991 inquest. The 1991 inquest, despite having several suspects, did not find enough evidence to charge anybody with Annette's death. Interestingly though, the inquest that is happening now is actually using laws from 1989 when Annette passed away, which means they can't force witnesses or persons of interest to give evidence in court. Bruce Morecambe, who is the father of a young boy here in Australia that was abducted and killed, Daniel Morecambe, believes opening the case, or reopening the inquest I should say, is a really good idea. He believes a fresh set of eyes on the case could bring answers for the Mason family, as it did for his family and for his son Daniel. Annette's family had actually been fighting for several years to have this inquest reopened, starting petitions, rallies, marches, and conducting the Walk for Justice. Annette's big sister, Linda Mason, really drove the cause to have this inquest reopened, being a family spokesperson and really taking charge of this fight for her family. So the reopened inquest began just last year in 2018, and the first major development was a key witness from the 1991 inquest changing her statement. Kylie Noethdurft told the coroner's court in the 2018 inquest that she had been at a barbecue the year after Annette had passed away and overheard a man saying that he killed Annette Mason. This man's name was Alan McQueen, the same Alan McQueen that Annette had last been seen talking to outside of the pub on the night that she died. Kylie said that during the initial 1991 inquest, she froze when she went to tell the court what she'd heard Alan McQueen saying at this barbecue, because McQueen had actually been in the courtroom at the time, and Kylie said that she was petrified of him. Kylie stated, "I had him standing staring at me in the court and I was scared. I was 16 years old. I could hear Mr. McQueen screaming, yelling, swearing, going to kill everybody, and that's when I froze and I didn't want to say anything." McQueen was removed from the courtroom after his 1991 outburst, but he could still be heard from outside the court, yelling, ranting and screaming by those inside the courtroom. Also, during the 2018 inquest, 2 police officers came forward and told the court that they heard a man confess to killing Annette Mason just days after she died. That man was once again Alan McQueen. McQueen and his brother Craig Gill had been in a brawl just 3 days after Annette's death outside the Norville Hotel. They were arrested and placed in the city's watch house. Former police officer Vernon Holcomb described how violent the pair had been, even locking McQueen's brother Craig Gill in the padded cell and locking McQueen not far away from him. The police officer claimed he heard McQueen state, "He was effing her while I bashed her over the head." Although the police officer doesn't remember anymore who made this statement, this officer said during his original statement that he believed it to be Alan McQueen. Another police officer, Sergeant Tony Smith, had also been at the watch house that night with Alan McQueen and his brother. He told the inquest he heard one of the brothers shout, "I'll kill that effing SLUT." But he also admitted to not knowing exactly which brother said this. Another witness during the 2018 inquest, Kylie Lee Legatt, added to the piling statements against Alan McQueen. Kylie told the court she'd been at a gathering at her mum's house in 1990, playing cards with Alan McQueen and his brother Craig Gill, when, seemingly out of nowhere, McQueen just blurted out, "I killed Annette Mason." His brother Craig told him to shut up and be quiet, and Kelly kind of just thought it was a joke and brushed it off. Kelly's sister also heard the same thing come out of McQueen's mouth, but she believed it had just been a statement to seek attention, basically. McQueen's brother Craig Gill also made a statement at the inquest telling the court that his brother never talked about Annette Mason to him, never confessed anything to him, and in fact they never even talked about her killing. When asked in court how 2 brothers, where one was a suspect in the case, would not discuss the death of the victim, he simply said that him and his brother didn't run in the same circles and that he barely even saw his brother Alan because he was always in and out of jail. And of course, Alan McQueen was given his own chance to talk or make a statement during the inquest. He said that he was more than happy to take a lie detector test, and in fact he was addressing the Mason family directly as he said this, which he was advised not to do. He claimed he first offered this lie detector test back in 2003, but they, and I don't know who they is, I guess the police, said, we don't need it, don't bother, and he couldn't understand why. And the Mason family said they never heard of any offer to take a lie detector test back in 2003 or since. As I said earlier, Alan McQueen does have a criminal past. In 1994, he was sentenced to life in prison for his part in bashing another inmate to death, and he got out on parole in 2018. McQueen claimed privilege against self-incrimination during the inquest and would not answer any questions in the courtroom. At the coronial inquest, it was stated that Alan McQueen was only one of a number of persons of interest. And another one of these persons of interest, was Michael Lane. Witness Nathan Benningfield told the inquest that when he was 16 years old, he would buy drugs off Michael Lane. Nathan Benningfield claims that one night at the local pub with a bunch of friends, Michael Lane was there and he was pretty much bragging to them about how he had killed a girl and got away with it. Benningfield stated at the inquest, he said he bashed her with a piece of wood. I recall him saying it was part of a fence. He was very serious. And although Michael Lane did not say the girl's name when he was bragging about it, I guess, One of Nathan's friends later told him it had been the girl that lived on Anzac Avenue, which is where Annette Mason lived. Michael Lane, however, always denied his involvement in Annette Mason's killing, claiming the pair only met a week before Annette died. However, it was speculated in court that the two of them had actually been sleeping together. Michael Lane also claimed during the inquest that him being a suspect in this case was like Groundhog Day, and that police had tunnel vision when it came to this case. He stated in the court, "I feel sorry for Annette's family. There's nothing I can do to give them what they want. I know these people have been waiting for 30 years. But I've copped 30 years of utter BS and torment." And that brings us to the present day. As of May 11th, 2019, the inquest is on hold while advanced DNA testing is being performed. The Facebook page Justice for Annette Mason, run by her sister Linda, states in regards to this, "I have no doubt that this will be the key to finally holding everyone involved accountable for Annette's horrific death." She followed this comment by quoting Section 10 of the Criminal Code, which relates to being an accessory after the fact, i.e. someone that knowingly assisted someone in committing a crime. The Facebook page states, "A person can be charged with being an accessory after the fact. The maximum penalty is life in prison." I'll put the full statement on the screen, and I'll link the Facebook page below as well. So take that statement as you will, but from the way I see it, the Mason family believe that more than one person was involved in Annette's killing. As of filming this, the Queensland Police website still have a $250,000, $250,000 reward on offer for any information leading to solving Annette Mason's case, and they also state, and I'm quoting the website here, "An appropriate indemnity from prosecution will be recommended for any accomplice not being the person who actually committed the crime, who first gives such information." So it appears they are offering some kind of immunity here to anyone that is not the killer. That's how I interpret that statement anyway. And having said that, thank you for listening to Annette Mason's story today. I, for one, am going to be following this case very closely and praying for a resolution that the Mason family desires, and that is to hold someone accountable for Annette's death. Again, I ask for your respect in the comments, as this is an ongoing inquest happening right now. Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe, notifications, all that. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay safe, and I will see you soon.